through healthy relationships. We're wired for relationships. So tune in and join with me as I explore and discuss tools for healthy relationships. Every Monday, 12:15 p.m. on Isaac 98.1 FM.
All right, guys, good afternoon. Once again, welcome to the program Healthy Relationships with Petreece, Cuffie. And at this time, let me say a very special good afternoon to Petreece. Petreece, how are you today?
I am good. It's a tough 2 weeks, but I'm good. It was happy my father passed and bring a branch of baby for me. Let me know he still loves me. One big branch.
Well, we missed you last week, Petreece. And I have to remind you, we have a question to answer today, all right? Right, so at this time, yes, I do. So we'll deal with that after, right? All right, so I'm going to pass right over to you. You go right ahead, Petreece.
All right, so good afternoon to all of you and listeners. Really happy to be here. Just thanking God for His love, His grace. Thanking God for family. Thanking God for church family. You know, it is wonderful to be a follower of Jesus. It's not always easy, but we always have peace. We always have righteousness and joy in the Holy Spirit. So I am continuing with those 10 characteristics of healthy marriage, and today I'm dealing with number 5, which is intimacy, love, and affection. And I have divided this into 2 parts. So in this first part 1, I'm dealing with intimacy, specifically emotional intimacy. So just before I go into looking at emotional intimacy, let me just remind you of those 10 characteristics of healthy marriage. They are: 1, commitment; 2, fidelity; and empathy; 9, intentionality; and 10, a growth mindset. So we're doing number 5, which is intimacy, love, and affection. And this is spouses in a healthy marriage express feelings of love, caring, and deep connection with one another. They also act in ways that enable their spouse to feel cared for and appreciated. So this intimacy we're talking about here, which is number 5, intimacy, love, and affection, really is speaking to emotional intimacy. So what is emotional intimacy? And remember, these things are all necessary if we have to have healthy marriages. So emotional intimacy is where, there is closeness between spouses in which both partners feel secure, they feel loved. And there is trust, of course, and as a result of this, there's a lot of communication. So whether persons are introverts, extroverts, this intimate relationship of marriage, there is a lot of communication when there is emotional intimacy. When there's emotional intimacy with your partner, you know their hopes, their dreams, their fears, their concerns, right? You understand them at a deep level. Sometimes you feel like you can literally look into their soul, right? So this is what emotional intimacy, when I say emotional intimacy, this is what I'm speaking about. Now, working on emotional intimacy in your marriage is truly worth the effort. It is worth the effort because not only does it help your relationship to be better, it helps you to be a better person. And it also helps you to have a much more fulfilling life. So it is worth the effort. Emotional intimacy in a marriage really helps you to understand yourself. It helps you to understand yourself. It helps you to understand life and to understand people. Now, what does emotional intimacy look like in a marriage? And most of my information is coming from wellmind.com. And the article was How to Grow Emotional Intimacy in Your Marriage by Wayne Parker. And Wayne Parker is a life coach. And I also got information from choosingtherapy.com. And that article was Emotional Intimacy in Marriage, 15 Tips for Building and Repairing It by Beverly Engel. And Beverly is a licensed marriage and family therapist. And you know I'm throwing in my 2 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, $20 also, right? So most of the information is coming from those two articles. And I'm using it because I found it was very, very practical, things that we can understand and that we can apply with the grace of God. So emotional intimacy can appear in a number of different ways in a relationship. And I am just sharing not all of those examples, but some of them. So how does it look if we have emotional intimacy in a marriage? Having long, meaningful conversations about your hopes, fears, goals, and other feelings. You are open and vulnerable with one another. You're talking to each other about the things that happen at work, with each person helping the other to feel safe and validated. And there are many people who say, I don't bring my work troubles home. And it's not about bringing your work troubles home. It is that this is a friendship. This is an intimate relationship. And your work is an important part of your life. And therefore, the importance of being able to share with someone who we understand is confidential and not taking it anywhere. This is your spouse. And to just get to feel validated and supported as you share. And even as Christians, sometimes just being able to pray for one another in this situation. Making time to spend time together to do things that you both enjoy. You got together as a married couple because there were things that you enjoyed. You would not be in a marriage if you didn't enjoy doing certain things with the person. So therefore, in the marriage, so in your courtship, we enjoy doing certain things together. In the marriage, you continue to enjoy, take time to do some of those things that you enjoy doing together. Show curiosity about each other's lives, experiences, feelings, and interests. This is how it looks like in a marriage, emotional intimacy. Being willing to try things that your partner suggests, even if it is not something you will normally do. Watching a movie you would normally watch, or trying a new restaurant, or going on an excursion, right? Empathizing with your partner, validating their feelings, and giving them emotional support. There's a feeling of comfort with one another. You seem relaxed in each other's presence and you laugh easily together, right? You practice healthy communication, which would include active listening. You are honest with each other. There's a feeling of trust between you. You feel safe and secure in that relationship. And you're able to forgive. You're able to forgive each other for mistakes and shortcomings. All of these are things that would be in a relationship when there is emotional intimacy. Now, often one partner or the couple do not recognize the signals when emotional intimacy is weak or lacking. One partner may say, I don't even understand. Just like that, he or she just got up and decided they wanted to separate, or they're not able to continue doing this anymore, and I don't even understand how it happened. But if they reflect, if the person really reflects on the marriage, they will see where the distance was growing and continued to grow. Where they started avoiding each other and started, not sharing certain information about themselves, where they started feeling rejected and disrespected and unloved, right? So emotional intimacy, a lack or weakening doesn't just appear. It happens over time. Now, signs that a relationship lacks emotional intimacy includes a lack of support, feeling lonely in the relationship, not sharing important things with each other, feeling disconnected from the other person, not sharing due to a fear of being rejected or even ridiculed, distancing yourself from your partner, a lack of physical affection. When we talk about physical affection, those are things like hugging, holding hands, kissing. That's physical affection. Not empathizing with one another. You have more conflicts and arguments. There's a lack of trust. There's poor communication. There are secrets. There are hidden emotions, things we just not saying that we feel. And there's decreased sexual intimacy and lower marital satisfaction. So these are all signs that the relationship lacks emotional intimacy. Now, sometimes married couples did not develop emotional intimacy in the first place. So even before they were married, they didn't develop emotional intimacy, or you can lose it after a while. You can, right? When, for example, when couples engage in sexual activity before marriage, it can actually cause them to spend less time working on the friendship and developing emotional intimacy, because sexual activity gives the couple a false sexual activity before marriage. It gives the couple a false sense of closeness, because sex is supposed to bond us. It gives you a false sense of closeness, and you feel like, yes, this is the one, right, whatever. But then when you get married, you wake up and realize, who is this? Right? Who is this? So we have to be very careful, and God's laws are not, he's not a cosmic killjoy to make us not enjoy life. It's very important in your courtship to be working on your friendship and to be doing things together and learning about each other, right? So you must work, both partners must work on building intimacy. And even if you were able to achieve, a good level of emotional intimacy, because emotional intimacy grows as you all continue to grow together as a married couple. But even if you were able to achieve a good level of emotional intimacy early in your marriage, it can slowly begin to lessen due to daily stresses, busy schedule. We know how it can get, right? Couples can begin to feel more like roommates, and feel like they're just passing each other, coming and going. It's all about the logistics, who picking up the children, who going to the grocery, who cooking the food. Nothing about that friendship and intimacy, right? It is important to recognize your part in building emotional intimacy in your marriage and being emotionally available. So we have to, as couples, work on maintaining the emotional intimacy, right? So what I want to look at now is how to increase emotional intimacy in your marriage. So things that you can do, because this is very important. This is like the lifeblood of your marriage, because a marriage is the most vulnerable relationship in terms of human beings. Friendship is also a very vulnerable relationship. And we know in friendship, there is emotional intimacy in that we generally understand each other's fears, concerns, those things. And you wouldn't consider a friendship satisfying and a marriage satisfying if there's no emotional intimacy. So how do we increase it, right? Silence the electronics. Deep and meaningful emotional intimacy in a relationship depends on the quality of your human interaction. You need to be interacting as a couple, right? You need to be interacting. So spend time talking, sharing, looking at each other, look into each other's eyes with no devices. No devices. So we're talking, sharing, laughing, devices either off or they're not near to us, right? And also have meals where there are no devices. So no tablet, no iPad, no cell phone, have meals where there are no devices present, and we're talking, we're sharing, we're laughing. So silence the electronics now a little bit, increase your time together. It could be hard to find time together as a couple. You have children, you have a job, you have ministry, right? And it really can be difficult. So sometimes you have to think about how can we carve out a little time. So, like we say, sometime on a weekend, we just sit down together, who like coffee, who like tea, who like whatever little snack, and we just have coffee or tea or some little snack, juice, right, together, even if it's just 15 minutes on a weekend, half an hour on a weekend together. We just eating or drinking something that we like and engaging in some good conversation. So try to see where I could carve out times. I've heard couples tell me that they do this before they go to sleep, right? Now, some people, their sleep patterns different. One is a morning person, one is a night person, right? But I have couples who have told me that before they go to sleep, they would spend some time just talking with each other and just checking in on how each other is doing. You know, you can read a book together. Not all of us are readers, but some people are. You know, the fact that you're reading together and talking about what you read can strengthen the trust and communication aspects of emotional intimacy, giving you a chance to share your feelings and insights without judging one another. So just we reading a book together and we sharing about it, we sharing what we see. And this could even include the Bible, right? Now, we're not going into arguing. Once we're doing that, we're not continuing with that time together. You know, put together a fun list. You know, put together a fun list. Spending time in activities that you enjoy can build, of course, shared wonderful memories while strengthening your emotional intimacy. Think about things that you did when you were courting and newlyweds. And I was asking, I was asking Huey, what we used to do when we were courting. He said, what fun activities we did? He said, we went KFC, but that KFC don't even exist anymore. Right? Think about things you did when you were courting and newlyweds that made you enjoy time together and consider them, putting them on your list. So there are things you would have done, but then also think about activities that you've always wanted to try and make sure that you put them on your list and look at that list and try to do things on that list from time to time or as regularly as you can. Doing fun things together really helps with your emotional intimacy. Share your true feelings and thoughts. Share your true feelings and thoughts. Instead of simply, sharing about your day in a superficial way. Yeah, my day was okay. It was good. Nothing major, right? Try focusing more on sharing how you feel emotionally. You know, I have been feeling sad about this, or I've been feeling overwhelmed by. Stop putting on a brave face and pretending that things are okay when they are not. Part of marriage is supporting and helping each other simply through listening, empathizing, you know, holding a hand, saying a prayer with each other, right? Seeing what we could do to help to pick the other person up if there's anything we can do, right? But listening is such an important part of support, and being able to hear each other's feelings and share is so important in emotional intimacy. Take the risk of revealing more about your insecurities and fears with your spouse. Now, this is not a time for a partner to be, your partner to be dumping ground for all your negative thinking and anger. That's not what this is about. This is you genuinely sharing feelings about fears you may have, about concerns you may have, feelings about insecurities you may have, feelings. This is not you a whole lot of negative thinking and anger dumping on the person. No, it is about being honest about how you are actually feeling, especially when you're experiencing a problem. Some persons have problems doing this, and you should seek help to do this. Listen to your spouse. Listening to a person is such a supportive thing to do, such a loving thing to do. Just listening to a person sometimes is all that they need to feel okay. Listen to your partner with presence, so I am here, and compassion with empathy. Make it a habit of stopping what you're doing when your partner is sharing something with you. especially if he or she is talking about their feelings. The deepest level of intimacy in a marriage is knowing how each other feels and sharing your feelings. Practice active listening, right? And that is you're giving your partner your full attention. Sometimes you're looking into their eyes, but you are listening to truly hear what they're saying, to understand what they're feeling. You're not listening to respond with a solution. You're not listening to be defensive. You're not listening to say, well, no, right? The deeper you can listen to one another is the more emotional intimacy you will experience. So right now, I call my husband menopause because he comes to tell me something and I am doing something, whether I'm watching a documentary or something. So I always have to pause it. I say, wait, 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 wait. Right. The man come, time to pause. Right. And I'm pausing to make sure I listen to him. And he does the same thing for me. So if he's in the study doing work and whatever, and I come in there, he would pause whatever he's doing and he would give me his full attention. If we cannot give each other full attention because we in something, we would say that. We would say that. But it is important that we pause when, and really pay attention to what our partner is sharing, even if sometimes it's something silly, because it gives us an opportunity to just laugh together and to share light moments together. When a person feels like you're really interested in them, interested even in their silliness, even in the jokes that they would want to share with you, it really creates emotional intimacy. Just think about you send some joke or something for your husband or your wife to laugh and to share. You bring it to them and you get no response, no kind of feedback. It doesn't feel good. It actually feels a bit painful. Validate your spouse's feelings. Validate your spouse's feelings. If your spouse is able to open up and share their feelings with you, validate those feelings. And we spoke about this before, but validating feelings is really empathy. Empathy is validating feelings. This is not I agree. It is I understand. Acknowledge it, right? I could see how you could feel like that, right? Acknowledge that. So it involves, again, you actively listening and you're identifying what you think your spouse is feeling. And it is about creating a safe space for where your partner can feel comfortable expressing their feelings without judgment. So we don't say to each other, you shouldn't feel like that. No, feelings are neither right nor wrong. What is right or wrong is how we think and how we behave. Now we understand that feelings can be influenced by thinking, but we don't say to one another, why are you feeling like that? You shouldn't feel like that. No, that actually diminishes emotional intimacy. Do not try to fix the problem. So if your spouse opens up and shares a problem with you, listen to understand, not to fix. Now, this could be hard. And this could be hard, especially for men, because men are natural problem solvers and fixers. And it's important for wives to appreciate that and appreciate that they want to fix and they want to problem solve. Don't just dismiss it, right? But it's important to not all the time be trying to fix. Assume that your partner has the skills, the knowledge, the resources to work out their problems. And your role is to listen and understand what they're feeling, to validate their feelings. Now, if they ask for suggestions on solutions, sure, give these suggestions, give what you think solutions, good solutions or appropriate solutions might be, right? Respect your spouse's opinions. All of this is building emotional intimacy. You do not have to agree with your partner's feelings, right? But you do need to believe that they have a right to think the way they think. So I may not agree with what you're thinking, but you have a right to think what you think. So arguing with them to try to change their mind or, rolling your eyes. I'm not sure if I can roll my eyes. I'm not sure. But I could give you a good kind of look that say you're talking stupidness, which you shouldn't do, right? rolling your eyes when you disagree. It is disrespectful and it is painful. And this can cause your spouse to withdraw from you. They can become reluctant to speak freely. So I don't think I want to share that with him or want to share it with her. You see that face they give me? That's too painful, right? And it can also cause them to build up defensive walls. Another one in building emotional intimacy. Check in with your spouse. Actively check in with your partner to discover what is going on in his or her life, especially their emotional life. You know, things like, how are you feeling about your new position? You know, how is that situation going between you and your sister, that conflict, you know, that you're trying to resolve? How is it going? When you do that, you show your partner, you're communicating to them that you care about their life, that you care about what is going on in their life. And it also communicates that they are not alone in this struggle. They are not alone in life. So check in with your spouse. Appreciate them more. Appreciate them more. Express more appreciation for your partner. And this is verbal, because many times people will share with others what they appreciate about their partner, but their partner has never heard it. They don't share it with them, right? So you appreciate the fact that your husband is very generous and share that with him. Let him know I really appreciate how generous and caring you are with people. Share it with the person verbally, right? Your wife, she's a very good mother, a wonderful mother. Share it with her verbally. Let her hear you say it. Don't just be telling other people, and your husband or your wife is not hearing, as in you saying it to them, to their face, what you appreciate or admire about him or her. Take time to show that you care. Go out of your way to show your spouse how much you love them. For example, you know, they want their feet massage. Do this from time to time as a way of showing your love, and do it from time to time, even without being asked, right? If you do not feel that love towards your partner, do not just do things out of obligation. It means you need to check in with yourself. You need to check in with yourself. Instead, ask yourself, why are you not feeling that love that you know, this is what I should be feeling for my partner? Are you holding on to old grudges? Are you feeling deprived, right? And deprived of something, you feel like there are things in the marriage I'm not getting, right? So you don't feel like giving your love to your partner because you feel deprived, right? And if either of these things are true, you need to have a heart-to-heart talk with your partner. Don't just be just doing things out of obligation, but you have, and you know, forcing, and no, stop and have a talk with your partner, with your husband, with your wife. Find out their love languages, and I'm not going into this here because I'll be dealing with it in part 2 of this 5th characteristic of intimacy, love and affection. Another one, maintain physical intimacy, right? Now, initiate physical intimacy. Physical intimacy is closeness and touch. So initiate a hug, initiate a kiss. Join your partner in the shower, right? Hug each other, hug your partner before you go to sleep. You know, do these things. Now, these things are not a signal that you want sex, but rather to express your affection and to increase your emotional intimacy. And we know that emotional intimacy and sexual intimacy go hand in hand, especially for women who need to feel safe and loved and appreciated for sexual intimacy to feel fulfilling, right? So the more you share non-sexual physical intimacy, non-sexual touching, is the more likely you would want to share sexual intimacy. But that's not what we talk. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to maintain that physical intimacy. Partners who touch each other often tend to have greater emotional intimacy. Create new traditions, right? Create romantic rituals together. For example, try to have a candlelight dinner on a Friday. It don't have to be every Friday. You know, you get somebody to take the children if you have children. You know, have a date, you know, on a weekend, or run away from work if you're working close and meet each other and have a nice little lunch together, right? Play a wedding song when your husband or your wife, you know, they reach home. Something that reminds you of your love for each other. And some people who would have lost that romantic feeling, it helps you to feel those things again and prevent you from getting into that rut of taking each other for granted. And do not, this is very important, do not avoid tough discussions. When persons feel like there are issues in the marriage that we're not talking about, you start to feel resentful. You start to feel not cared for. And it really helps to diminish emotional intimacy. So do not avoid tough discussions. Do not be afraid to have serious conversations. Set a time. Have a structured way of having that conversation to discuss the state of your relationship with your partner. And I encourage the couples that I work with to do the mirroring, validate, and empathize, and use that as a way to have difficult conversations so that both persons know we're going into this conversation and we're going to feel heard and understood. And through that, we're going to find a way forward in this marriage. Choose a date and a time that is good for both of you, and make sure the conversation does not become an argument. And that's why I love that tool of the mirroring, validating, and empathizing. It really helps you to push down your urge to defend and to contradict, but it really helps you to put yourself in the other person's shoes, to validate their thoughts, to validate their feelings. It doesn't mean you agree, but it helps you to understand things about yourself and about your partner. So examples of questions to ask each other might be, are you getting your needs met in the relationship? What is the best way I can support you right now? What do you need in order to feel more trusting and safe in our relationship? How would you like our relationship to change? What one thing would you like me to change or work on? What do you think you need to change in order to help our relationship to improve? So these are some of the questions you can ask. I remember my husband and I, earlier in our marriage, we would ask each other, am I making your life better? That's a question we would ask. Am I making your life better by being in your life, by being your life partner? Take responsibility for your part. Take some responsibility for your intimacy issues. Take a serious look at yourself and ask, what is my part in our relationship problems? For example, you may have issues you're dealing with, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and these things keep you from opening up. Some people, they so fear conflict that they say nothing for peace sake, allowing issues to go untreated. And that diminishes emotional intimacy in a marriage. So you have abandonment issues, you have rejection issues, you're afraid of conflict. Deal with these things. These things will hamper the emotional intimacy in your marriage, right? So instead of, sometimes people have issues and instead they're blaming their spouse for all kinds of things, but it really is with you. Consider marriage enrichment activities. A number of churches have things that they hold for married couples, and even little getaway weekends for retreat for couples for marriage enrichment, couples can truly benefit from these investments of attending things like this, even if there's a cost attached. Invest, but remember to be fully engaged. Go into it wholeheartedly, wanting to learn and benefit from these activities. So churches do it. We have other family life groups that offer these things. Get involved. And then get help if you need it. If you feel your emotional relationship is headed downward, you may want to consider seeking help. Seek counseling, seek help. You may have grown apart. You may have hurt each other without meaning to. A lot of hurt in marriage is not intentional. Sometimes we hurt each other intentionally because we are hurting. But most hurt in marriage is not intentional, right? We may have avoided intimacy for personal reasons, become distracted by the demands of life. These problems are often solved with dedication, time, and sincere attention and prayer. They can be. So emotional intimacy, and I'm closing, emotional intimacy is a key component in healthy marriage. When emotional intimacy is lacking, the relationship will suffer. However, maintaining emotional intimacy requires effort, attention, and intentionality. Restoring emotional intimacy after it is lost can be a lot tougher, but it is worth it, but it will mean intentional effort, right? And thank God we always have His grace to help to make our marriages better. So restoring emotional intimacy after it is lost can be tougher than doing the work to preserve it along the way. So continue to do those acts that keep you all emotionally intimate, right? And if emotional intimacy is lost in your marriage, it's not too late. If the two persons are willing to do the work, and I want to commend a lot of couples. I see couples every single week who are trying and working on building their emotional intimacy, and I applaud them. I continue to pray for you, and I pray for God's continued grace to have a healthy, wonderful marriage on this side of eternity. All right. So Tiffany, turn it back over to you, and I'll check my phone for that question because I know that you sent it to me from a viewer. I believe it was the last program. So let me see if I can find it. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I see it here. Yes.
All right.
It
So go right ahead.
says, right, how you deal in a marriage where one spouse has always been attacked emotionally and mentally. Well, I think it would be important for the person to share. So I feel so and so when you do so and so, and I will not be continuing conversations with you. So you need to set some kind of boundary, some kind of consequence. I will not be continuing a conversation with you if, no, this is emotionally and mentally, if you say these things. So you call me stupid, or you put me down, or you attack the way I think, the way I feel. I will not be continuing a conversation if this is what you are doing. And also saying that we need to get intervention because this is very painful. So it's important for the person to let the person know this is what you are doing, right? This is what you're doing. I feel so and so when you do so and so, but you need to set some kind of boundary. I will not be continuing a conversation with you if in that conversation you are doing X, Y, and Z. I will move away from you if this is where you want to go with the conversation, because it is very painful to me. It is wrong, and I should not be treated like this. And if the person does do it, you put the consequence in place, which is to stop the conversation or to move away. And if they do listen, you thank them. You thank them for the changes they're making and listening. And if there are no changes, you need to say, we need to get some kind of help. But you can't continue engaging if a person continues to just be emotionally abusive and mentally abusive to you. And a lot of times that is shown in body language and also in the things that people say, you know, so that you want to, if you're saying these kind of things to me, if this is the body language you're coming with, I'm not going to be engaging with you. Yeah?
All right. And one more question for today, Petreece. This business saying, hi, good afternoon. My wife doesn't listen to me. Her eyes are always on the TV. She says, I have no time right now. She says her family and friends are more important to her than I am. She never does anything with me, but only with her friends and family. And recently left her home, living with my male friends. What am I to do? Please let me know.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know the whole story there, but of course, that sounds very, very painful. And I think it would be important for them to get some kind of intervention. This situation would not have started overnight. People don't get married and just start doing this. There are things that would have happened in that marriage that has led to where they are, and it might be important for the person who has sent this to reflect on what did I contribute to the state of this marriage? What really may be happening with my wife at this time, right? Because different things may be at play, even in terms of let's, for example, a person really just trying to find themselves and feeling smothered. I don't have enough information to say, but there's a need for this person who called in or send that message to reflect what has happened in my marriage and to seek help.
Right, so I'm hoping that person is listening and you would have heard Patrice's response. All right, guys, it's just a couple minutes to the top, well, a couple seconds to the top. And let me leave a WhatsApp only number with you guys for Petreece Cuffie. You can send a message. It's 329-7383. 329-7383. Petreece, I want to say thank you once again so very much. And if you guys need to get this message, maybe you missed a part, feel free to go on to FBN TV. That's on YouTube, and Isaac the Promise on Facebook. You're going to get all that Petreece would usually come on and share with us. So Petreece, thank you so very much.
Welcome.
We truly appreciate you. And until we meet again.
All right. Goodbye and God bless. Take care.
Have a blessed one. Thank you so very much.
Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Hi, I'm Petreece Cuffie, counselor and trainer, and one of my deepest desires is to see people experience the fulfillment and growth that comes